To lead change in an organization, you have to have people come along with you. You have to have an idea that is can be believed in and acted upon by a lot of people. So I guess basically another way to say that is you really have to have a vision that you're all going forward for. But you can't just have it be a slogan. You really have to have people understand it with, the blood and bones of their own body. Because one of the things I've learned is you can say words, but you cannot be guaranteed they'll be understood in the same way. And it's really important that you have oxygen around those words and what they mean. And because frankly, when you do have that conversation, it comes to mean more and more and more and more. And everybody's fire is lit in a different way. And, if your finance person is going to help you with this change management, you've got to have it mean something for them. And that's the leader's job, to bring everybody along. On the outside of the organization, it's important that they have it, especially if you're a public organization like the Australia Council for the Arts, it's important that they feel like they understand it and that there's something in it for them. And therefore, you have an obligation to have them engaged with you when you're talking about change. So I've also found in both the businesses I've worked in and in the arts organizations that change has to take the time it has to take. You can say we've got 2 months to make this change. It doesn't happen like that. At the Australia Council, we made a lot of the changes that we were going to make recently within a close time frame. But the change of culture and the real change doesn't happen for quite some time. And it has to be led and modeled over and over and over again. Most change agents will point to those sort of burning platforms that always sort of help you along. We're going to die. We're not going to survive. Those are, quite useful. But when that's not the case, which is quite often, there are examples of where people make those up. You can do the same thing by just creating a vision of the future that is compelling. In the arts, where people work less on salary and more on passion and caring a lot about what it's about, you really need to get them involved in creating where we're going together. And there are a lot of businesses who would die for the passion I have in my staff and that I have in the sector, which are running organizations on the smell of a greasy rag. But they do it, that passion, is disparate unless you kind of all are working, or most are working towards a vision of where we could be and where we want to get to. So I think that's your burning platform. And in various businesses I've worked with, it can be about survival, or it can be about, getting that many more people on board or whatever, but you do create something. I guess another area that's really important is understanding who in your organization has influence. Change agents need change agents. And who is blocking. And working to have those people be key players, both sides, because they both are important for what's going to work and what's not going to work. But it is amazing how if you take someone who's vested in blocking change and move them to a place where they're vested in facilitating change, all of a sudden things happen. So there's an architecture job to do as well. When we started the change program at the Australia Council for the Arts, I really, wanted to have people engaged with it. So what we did was we had PricewaterhouseCoopers come in and tell us in a very fast, quick way what we were doing efficiently and effectively and what we weren't doing efficiently and effectively. Only we didn't just let them come in full scale. They had to do it with our employees and with our staff. So they had to hear the passion stories about it. And unconsciously that was so that they could, when they were talking to us about change, not do it ignorant of the passion that was involved. And I think that happens a lot, where you get these accounting firms or whatever come in and they go, you must do such and so and such and so, and if you don't do it, blah, blah, blah. Of course, that's going to take you 10 years because of the obstacles to it. So when they did that, then they identified, and because they've worked with staff, 6 things that staff knew weren't right with the organization and had a fair amount of interest in getting right. And I must say they were largely around process and admin, but process and admin can be just killers for passion-based organizations. So if in order to make a booking to come to America from Australia, it takes you 2.5 days, guess what? It's going to be pretty frustrating. In order to put a grant out to an artist, it takes you a week. That's not going to drive a lot of stimulus to being excited about what you do. So our staff helped us identify 6 areas that were really important. And then we put together 6 teams of people from staff to make them better. And so they are responsible for doing it themselves. That took us a little bit longer, but not that much longer. And now when we talk about it, it's not a program imposed by somebody else. It's we done did it ourselves.